Have you ever wondered why, even though you try everything, affirmations, visualizations, law of attraction techniques, nothing really changes in your life? What if I told you that you only need 3 minutes before going to sleep to completely reprogram your reality? This technique comes directly from the occult teachings of Neville Goddard, and what you're about to hear today could change everything. Neville Goddard was not just a mystic. He was a revelator, a master at manifesting realities with surgical precision, using something most people ignore: the state between sleep and wakefulness. It's in that little gap, where the conscious mind starts to shut down and the subconscious mind takes over, that the magic happens. Neville called this SATS, state, akin to sleep. But what almost no one reveals is that there is a condensed version of this technique, a variation of just 3 minutes that acts as a direct command to your subconscious. Think of it this way: your subconscious mind is like fertile soil. What you plant in that soil grows. But there is a specific window of time, a secret loophole, where that soil is more receptive than ever. And that's where this technique comes in. A simple yet powerful formula that can be done every night just before you fall asleep. You don't need any equipment, complex mantras, or years of practice. Just 3 minutes, and your reality programming begins to change silently, invisibly, but very real ways. Before I reveal the step-by-step process, I want to ask you something very important. If you're ready to take control of your life, if you feel that this information needs to reach more people, click subscribe right now, activate the bell, and share this video with someone you love. This helps the channel grow. But more than that, it finally brings this ancient wisdom, which has been hidden for decades, back into the light. Now, let's get right to what you need to know. You will now learn how to use Neville Goddard's 3-minute technique to plant the seed of your new self. Step 1. Lie down comfortably. Close your eyes. This may seem obvious, but here's the secret. You need to be in that state where you're about to fall asleep, but still conscious. It's that moment when your thoughts are already slowing down, your body is starting to feel heavy, and your mind is vulnerable, ready to receive commands. Step 2. Choose a short, symbolic scene of your wish fulfilled. Don't imagine the process. Imagine the end. Neville said, "The end determines the means." For example, if you want financial abundance, imagine yourself holding a bank statement with the exact amount you want. Don't say anything, just feel it. Step 3. Repeat this scene for 3 minutes. Relive the image as if it were real, as if it were a memory. And here is the crucial point. Feel the joy, gratitude, and certainty that this has already happened. This repetition for 3 minutes, as you gently drift off to sleep, is like burning a code into your subconscious. It's like you're saying, "This is who I am right now." And the universe doesn't argue with who you believe you are. And what happens in the following days may seem like a coincidence, but it is not. People will seek you out. Opportunities will arise. Reality begins to align with the scene you planted in that sacred moment between waking and sleeping. But there is one detail, a key that many people miss without realizing. Something subtle, but that defines whether the technique will work in a few days or never. And that's exactly what I'm going to tell you about next. Most people hear about the technique, try it for a few days, but then give up. They say that it didn't work, that they didn't feel anything, and that's where the most common and most tragic mistake lies. The subtle key, the dividing line between an extraordinary result and an empty repetition, is not in the scene you imagine, nor in the time you practice. It's in how you feel while you imagine it. Yes, it sounds simple, but stop for a second and think honestly. When you visualize your desire, are you actually feeling it as real? Or are you just watching it as if it were a distant movie? Because your subconscious doesn't respond to words, it responds to states. Neville was emphatic. Feel yourself in the state of the wish fulfilled. Feel it as if it were now. That, as if it were now, is the secret. It is where reality begins to fold in. You're not pretending to have it. You're embodying it. You're living the end, feeling the relief, the peace, the quiet pleasure that finally, it's all happened. And it is in this state, this specific vibrational field, that the universe begins to respond. It's like changing the radio station. You don't have to fight with the old program. You just change the frequency, and something completely different starts playing. But there is one more element that separates those who see changes in weeks and those who don't move forward. And this part, nobody tells you, because it seems too simple. But at the same time, it is so powerful that it seems magical. This is what we call complete surrender to the state. In other words, letting go of control. When you practice this technique, you don't have to rationally believe that it will happen. You just have to surrender to the feeling that it has already happened. People report bizarre experiences, waking up to unexpected messages, receiving calls from people who had been distant for years, getting jobs they only dreamed of. Why? Because while they were sleeping, they were sending commands to the universe. But not desperate commands. Rather, they were silent commands. Vibrational. Almost divine. It all comes down to one thing. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. And during those 3 minutes before you go to sleep, you have the power to become someone else. The person you already have. The person who already lives. The person who doesn't even need to ask for more because he simply is. Want to know what happens when you do this for 7 nights in a row? Or for 21 days? The walls of your reality begin to crack, not visibly, but subtly, silently. You begin to notice small signs, coincidences, internal reliefs, and then something bigger happens. And when it happens, and it will, you won't be surprised, because you've lived it before, remember? During those 3 minutes, you've already become that new version. And yet, there is something even deeper, something that goes beyond technique, something that few explore, but that can accelerate the process like an invisible catalyst. It's a practice that Neville used, but only mentioned briefly in his earlier lectures. He called it reviving to transform. And it's not about the future, it's about the past. Imagine taking a painful memory, a scene of rejection, of failure, and in the last 3 minutes before bed, retelling that scene, as if the ending had been different. Yes, Neville said, by changing the past in your mind, you change the present in the physical world. This seems impossible, right? But the subconscious mind doesn't differentiate between reality and vivid imagination. It just responds. So when you change the vibrational record of a memory and replace it with a healed, transformed version, you break a cycle. You take the trauma loop out of play, and you put a new script in charge. And that is just the surface. The 3-minute technique is like the key that opens the first door. But beyond that, there is a sacred labyrinth, full of secrets that Neville whispered to those who were truly ready. And the question now is, are you ready to go further? Because what comes next, it's not just about manifesting money, love, or success. It's about becoming a conscious creator of your reality on every level. But before we continue, waking up the next day after practicing SATs is not just opening your eyes, it's waking up as a new version of yourself. And here's the most overlooked but absolutely crucial detail. You must remain faithful to the scene you experienced the night before. This means don't go back to doubt. Don't look for signs. Don't keep checking if it has worked. You have already created. The command has been given. The mold of the new reality has already been imprinted on the invisible field. Now, all that remains is to simply stay in alignment with this creation. But how can we do this in the midst of the chaos of the 3D world? How can we maintain the state if the money has not yet fallen, the message has not yet arrived, the body still feels pain? Neville replies, ignore the evidence of the senses. Yes, ignore it. Don't deny it. Don't fight it. Just know that what you see out there is a delayed reflection of who you were before and what you created last night. It hasn't reached the mirror yet, but it already exists, and it will appear with surgical precision. Your task now is simple, but it requires attention. During the day, ask yourself silently, if I were already that version I visualized, how would I act now? How would I breathe? How would I talk? How would I walk? You don't have to fake anything. Just tune in to what has already been created. Imagine you're on a speeding train heading towards your destination. You don't have to yell at the conductor or ask if the train is still on its way. You just stay in your seat, confident, calm, wise. This is your new role, representing the end state. You're now the actor and director of your own movie. The scene was rehearsed the night before in your SATS state. Now is the time to act it out, smoothly, confidently, without anxiety, without the need to see it to believe it, because you have already believed it, and so you will see it. And here's another point that few have the courage to accept. 3D reality can resist. Yes, she can test you. She can try to pull you back to the old version. But don't be alarmed. This isn't the universe saying no. It's the universe rearranging everything to reflect its new frequency. Imagine, you were an AM station. Now you've switched to FM. There will still be echoes of the old programming for a while. But if you persist in the new state, the old one disappears. It just falls apart. And maybe you ask yourself, but if everything depends only on my internal state, where is the action? Should I do something? That's a valid question. And the answer lies in true inspiration. Neville said, you will be compelled to act, but never coerced. In other words, you don't act out of desperation. You don't force it. You allow the action to come from within, as an extension of the state you have already assumed. And this action is different. It doesn't come with anxiety. It comes with fluidity. It feels like intuition, like synchronicity, like magic. This is the moment when everything comes together. The inner scene begins to reflect in the outer world. And when this happens, and it will, you will no longer doubt, because you will understand once and for all that reality is only a response to your consciousness. And yet, that's just the first layer, because there is a way to further strengthen your new state, to speed up the process, to shield your mind against doubts, sabotage, and external influences. It's what Neville called silent self-observation, a kind of inner vigilance where you become the master of your attention, and where your attention becomes the bridge between the invisible and the visible. But that's a topic for the next step, because when you learn to master your attention, you go from being a casual manifester to an intentional, conscious, and irreversible creator. And maybe That's exactly what you were ready to find out. But there's something even more advanced, something that connects SATs with alternate timelines, quantum collapses, and real-time identity shifting. Neville touched on this point in his most mysterious writings, but few know how to apply it. If you're ready, I can show you that next level. Do you want to continue? Imagine that right now, as you watch this video, there are countless versions of you living different realities. Versions of you who got the job, who found love, who healed their bodies, who achieved freedom. These versions are not imaginary. They are real possibilities, accessible, and they are all just a vibrational decision away. Neville said that man is free to choose the state he inhabits. But what did he really mean by that? He was saying that you can change your timeline, not with physical effort, but with the repositioning of your consciousness. When you enter SATS, you are literally entering the interdimensional elevator of your mind, and the scene you replay, the emotion you evoke, is the vibrational password that takes you to a new timeline. But here's the brutal secret. Most people imagine, and then walk back to the wrong door. They live the end during the 3 minutes at night, and during the day, they return to their old self, to the same mental state as before. And that's where the manifestation falls apart. Not for lack of faith, but for lack of vibrational persistence. Hold on to the new state until it is more real than the old one. This is the key. This is where the game changes. The question is no longer, will it work? It's, how long can I stay in the new state, even without proof? Because the timeline of abundance already exists, but it only becomes accessible when you refuse to step off it. You've already entered it. When you closed your eyes at night and felt like it was already real, you changed. You stepped out of your old identity, and you touched, even if just for a few seconds, the version of you that has already won. Now, all you need is to not leave. And that requires what Neville called sustained faith in the unseen. It is not fanaticism. It is vibrational mastery. It is knowing, with silent conviction, I already am. And the 3D world will bow to that. And you know, now you know. While everyone lives in reaction to what they see, you live in creation with what you feel. You have understood the mechanism. You have discovered the invisible trickery of reality. And perhaps now, he's ready for an even bolder revelation. I am no longer who I was yesterday, and tomorrow, I will already belong to another reality. This is the most powerful thought you can carry, because it activates what mystics call spontaneous identity shift. And here is something that few dare to do. Break with their own history. You no longer have to stay true to the trauma, the scarcity, the identity of someone who has been rejected, sabotaged, or ignored. You can let go of it all today, without ceremony, without warning. Just declaring, in the silence of the mind, I am no longer that version. I choose another line. I choose another life. And then, you imagine, you feel, and you persist. And don't think you're alone in this. The whole universe starts conspiring when you choose a new vibration. You start to notice that coincidences increase. People change their behavior. Opportunities arise. Doors open. And you understand from the inside out, nothing has changed, but everything has changed. Because I have changed. And if you've come this far, it means you're ready to go beyond technique. You're ready for the ultimate reprogramming, the fusion of imagination, persistence, and conscious vibrational change. Not just for 3 minutes at night, but all day long, every day. This is where manifestation becomes a way of being, And this is where we enter the higher ground. Because there is an advanced technique, a dynamic SATS, that can be done even with your eyes open, in the middle of the day, in transport, at work, while you're walking down the street. A secret practice that true masters use to remain nested in the state of the end at all times, creating realities effortlessly, jumping between versions, collapsing possibilities with the mind. This technique, I can reveal it to you now. But first, this technique, I can reveal it to you now. But first, you need to decide if you are ready to stop being what the world has taught you to be and become what you were born to be. Because the next step is no longer about desire. It's about pure identity. It's about becoming your own miracle. Do you want to continue? What separates those who manifest with precision from those who merely wish is the permanence in the state of the end, anywhere, at any time. And for this, there is what we call dynamic SATS, a practice that transforms your entire day into an extension of your nightly creation. You don't have to close your eyes. You don't have to stop everything. All it takes is an internal choice. In any situation, ask yourself silently, what would this version of me, the one already living the desired reality, be feeling right now? How would she interpret this situation? What would she do differently, right now? That's the secret. You're no longer trying to create something. You're consciously acting as someone who already lives it. This is the invisible practice. This is vibrational mastery. This is dynamic SATS. And it doesn't matter where you are right now, in the middle of chaos, in a moment of doubt, surrounded by situations that seem to contradict what you want. None of this has any power if you don't pay attention to it. You are the point of awareness. You are the projector, not the screen. And when you change on the inside, the projection outside is forced to rearrange itself. But this requires something few are willing to sustain: quiet persistence in the unseen. Because there will be days when nothing seems to happen. There will be times when the old world will scream, trying to pull you back. It will feel like SATS didn't work. But the real question is, did you work? Did you remain firm in the new state, even without immediate trials? Because that's the real test. And it's also where extraordinary results begin. You don't need to know how. The universe takes care of that. You just need to keep yourself vibrating in the end. And in time, you begin to realize that you didn't even need the wish. Because the real gift was who you became along the way. Desire was just the magnet that pulled you to your highest version. And now, you're here, one step away from materialization. You are the author. You are the actor. You are the director. And you are the world. Your entire universe is shaped by what you accept as true now. And if you can hold on to that truth, even when nothing seems to confirm it, you become irresistible to what you want. You collapse timelines. You traverse layers of reality. You rebuild yourself, scene by scene, thought by thought, until the world can no longer deny who you are. You didn't imagine. You remembered. Because everything you wanted was already yours. You just had to allow yourself to access it, feel it, and live it. Now tell me, in the comments below, what is the scene you will live tonight in your SATS? What are you ready to manifest? Who is the new version of you that is about to emerge? Write it down. Declare it. Anchor this new identity in the now. Remember, the written word is vibration in motion. And when you write, you affirm to the universe, I am ready. I am this. So comment now. I read each one. And if you felt this video, if this message touched you, If you know you were ready to hear this today, subscribe to the channel. Share this video with anyone who needs to wake up. And remember, you're not here by chance. You have been guided because you are ready for the new reality. But the journey doesn't end here. There is another level. There is a point where manifestation becomes natural, where desire becomes instant certainty, where external reality bends to your presence, not because you force it, but because you have become the magnetic field itself. Do you want to go with me there?